Hello and welcome to another Biblical Truth Through Video Games. Today I will be talking about Arkham Origins Blackgate. Now this is a Batman game, and as such in the opening sequence, Batman is chasing down Catwoman, who is off burglarizing as she is often doing. And so Batman chases her down, captures her, and sends her to Blackgate Prison. This is all within the first 15 minutes of the game. So you fast forward the plot X amount of months, and there is a prison break at Blackgate. So Batman hears about this, arrives at the scene to see what's going on, and who should be the first person that he sees but Catwoman, who explains to him that three supervillains have escaped and are wreaking havoc at the prison. And so now Batman needs to track them down and capture them. And Catwoman has decided to help Batman in this. So Batman reluctantly agrees to her help, and she offers, advice along the way as Batman tries to capture these villains. Now, as the game progresses near its conclusion, and this is a bit of a spoiler alert, although not a particularly surprising one. So as the game draws near the end, it turns out that Catwoman's intentions aren't as noble as she would have them appear, and so there is a betrayal. And when Batman finds this out, he confronts Catwoman about it, and he says, "How can you do this? How can you?" I'm not going to go into the specifics of what she did. I'll let you play the game for that. But he says, how could you do that? Don't you know the consequences? Don't you know how many people could get hurt or even killed through your actions? To this, Catwoman responds, "I don't think about questions like that. It's how I do my job and sleep at night." And now if you take that response, I really think that should be the mantra of the anti-hero. So obviously you have your heroes who are trying to do good, trying to restore order. You have villains, which are the polar opposite of that. And then somewhere in between, in that gray area between, you have the anti-hero, whose actions are typically self-centered. They tend to do what's in the best interest for them and then rationalize why they did so along the way. And this is what Catwoman is known for. And so, I've been reading comic books, since I was a kid. When I was a kid, I loved comic books, read them, and I always, as I was reading them as a kid, always kind of pictured myself as a hero, not in the sense of that I would have superpowers, but in the sense that I wanted to make heroic decisions, much like the heroes that I loved did. But now, years later, as a grown-up, looking back at a lot of the decisions in my life, I kind of realized that a lot of those decisions are more indicative of the anti-hero, where at the time I did what I wanted to do, what was in the best interest for me, and then I would rationalize it along the way, much like a Catwoman would. And so, I realized this, and I realized that's not the best thing in the world to do. And so what does the Bible say about this? Well, I wanted to talk about James chapter 1, verses 22 to 25. It says, "But be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man observing his natural face in a mirror. For he observes himself, goes away, and immediately forgets what kind of man he was. But he who looks into the perfect law of liberty and continues in it, and is not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this one will be blessed in what he does." Reading this verse definitely convicted me. And, it talks about looking at yourself in the mirror and then kind of forgetting what that reflection looks like. And it also reminds me of, taking a picture and then touching up the picture and then looking at the touched up picture and looking, wow, I look perfect. There's not a blemish on it, when that's not really an accurate picture because it's touched up. Likewise, when you rationalize, you're kind of ignoring all the flaws, all the blemishes, and just kind of looking at things the way you want to look at them and not the way they actually are. But the Bible's clear at, what the Bible is. The Bible, it's a rock. It's not up for negotiation. And if you're rationalizing, you are really transgressing, what the Bible says. So I wanted to share that with you, and I hope you found that useful. And thank you, as always, for listening. Next time, I will be sharing a biblical truth, actually the second biblical truth on the game Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13. So thanks again.